Hey everybody, Kris Gethin here, and you are listening to the Knowledge and Mileage podcast. I want to begin by thanking every single one of you that have supported me on this podcast since I started about 11 or 12 weeks ago. I begun this not knowing if I'd continue. I thought, let me just start off with 8 episodes following my video trainer first, and let's see if I'm able to do this. Let's see if I can find the time to do it. Let's see if people will even listen to it. And so many of you have given me such great feedback. So if you prompted me to continue to do this, you guys have actually given me the purpose. And I always say that success is when you have actually found a purpose. And you've definitely given me that. So thank you very much for subscribing and listening and sharing this podcast. At the end of this podcast, I'm going to tell you how you can win some badass prizes, including the Caged Muscle Testosterone Support Matrix that has been flying off the shelves and giving us great reviews from. So we've got that. That's part of the prize package. Also got some Shield of Strength necklace, Cage Muscle t-shirt. What else we got in there? There was something else as well. Oh, a signed picture. Signed picture. That's if you want it signed. So listen to the end of this podcast. I'm going to let you know how you can win that. But today, I am going to talk to you about the psychology of overeating. Not only does this happen to the general public, but the people in the fitness, the bodybuilding world generally have a problem of overeating as well. Maybe we over-diet, we cut our calories back or our carbs back too far, and then we crave, and then we start binging and overeating, and then doing 3 hours of cardio the following day to damage control. But let's look at the root of the problem. Let's not hit a band-aid and expect to have a different outcome by going through the same motions every day, every week, every month, every year. So let's look at the root by checking out your plan to begin with. What is your plan? Do you have a detailed plan? You should always write out a detailed plan. You've probably heard it from many, many other people in regards to your career path, what your goals are. The more detailed that you can be with them, the better. There's a reason why everyone keeps telling you that. There's a reason why Richard Branson always walks around with a notebook in his back pocket, always jotting down ideas, dissecting, understanding, wondering, thinking. It's all detailed there for you to look back at. So this is what I suggest to begin with. Number 1, have a detailed plan, but also write out what is triggering your overeating patterns. What is it? Is it the time of day? Is it the place that you are? Is it people? Is it social events? What is it exactly? Detail that down on what triggers you. Is it depression? Is it anxiety? What is it? What is that pattern? You can only break a pattern if you fully understand it. And when I say understand it, you have to detail it so much. I have people write down their diets for me that I look at every day, and they may just put down, it's a casserole. I ate a casserole. I don't care about the casserole. I want to know what ingredients went in that casserole. You need a detail because it's easy to hide behind the generalization of these things. Number 2, have you looked at increasing your fats? A lot of people don't even think about it because they think about eating fat and they're going to get fat. I would suggest, if you are one of these people that get triggered with cravings, I suggest for a little while maybe pull those carbs out. Definitely pull out a lot of the starchy grain carbs, such as your pastas and your breads. Remove that because that will turn into a trigger when it actually turns into glucose and sugar in your system. So what I'd suggest, what actually provides a fuller feeling, more satiation, is higher good fats and higher fiber. So really, it doesn't matter about your protein. Your protein can stay similar to what it generally is because If you're listening to this podcast, I'm expecting you to be some type of health enthusiast, a bodybuilder. So you're going to have a higher protein diet anyway, which is good because that fills you up. But higher fats and higher fiber will also fill you up. So good fats. Think of your omega-3s, not so much your 6s, because we do have too much omega-6 at the moment in this day and age. So they could be your egg yolks, could be avocado, could be your nuts, some seeds, some coconut oil, maybe a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and supplementation with, your krill oil, your high EPAs, DHAs. So try increasing your fats and your fiber. So your fiber can come from supplemental form with your psyllium husk. You can have a lot of your green vegetables, a lot of high fiber vegetables. And, when I say fiber, obviously your fibrous carbohydrates, not your starch carbs. Really bump them up. That'll give you a lot more volume and make you feel a lot fuller. Okay. Number 3, chew slowly. Be a little bit more present. So this has been shown in a lot of studies. The French actually eat attractive food, but it's known to be unhealthy. So these foods that can look attractive, they could be a croissant, your French bread, okay, white starch, fats I've just spoken about there. You've got your cheeses, you have your wines. Generally a lot of high-fat, high-starch meals. However, the French do chew a lot slower, and they eat by their body clock. Whereas us here in the US, we generally eat food not by our body clock, but by the time. Okay, it's 9 o'clock, it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock, time to eat. And we won't eat slowly. We're generally distracted. We're eating by ourselves, but we're using our phone as our company. We're looking at the TV, a computer monitor. We're in transport. And we generally don't eat until we're full. We eat until the plate is empty. That is the biggest difference between us and other populations, such as the French in this example. So I would suggest that you be extremely present when you're eating. So when I say that, make sure that you're not rushing yourself, you're chewing slowly, think about the texture of that food, maybe look at it before you eat it. Allow your eyes to scan as it's chewing so it understands, okay, I'm getting the fats that I need for my brain function, I'm having the fibrous carbs that I need for good digestion. I'm having the antioxidants that I need for free radical damage. I'm taking in my proteins to make sure that I have plenty of hair regrowth, skin renewal, good for my eyesight, recovery from my workouts. Your body through the sight and your brain needs to have time to take this in. And if you're chewing too quickly, and then all of a sudden you think, okay, I still need to eat, chances are you're already filling up your stomach. You haven't filled it yet because it hasn't allowed yourself time for it to settle. So take your time as you chew. Give your body and your brain time to understand that it's full. It can take up to 20 minutes. 20 minutes for your stomach to register to your brain, because your stomach is your second brain, to say, okay, that's enough. However, if you've wolfed everything down within 10 minutes, you still have another 10 minutes to allow your brain to get triggered to say, I've had enough food. Okay, so take your time. Enjoy the application of eating. It once was a very social thing to eat with the family. That doesn't happen as much as it once did. Maybe we should bring that back. A lot of people, number 4, overeat because they're undernourishing themselves. Much like a lot of people drink a lot of fluid, thinking they're hydrating themselves. However, if they're not taking in the adequate electrolytes and minerals, then you're not going to hydrate yourself. Same with food. If you are eating food that is dense in calories but low in the micronutrients and the macronutrients that your body craves, what's it always going to do? It's always going to want more. It's going to crave more until it's had the amino acids, the antioxidants, the carbohydrates, the fiber, the fats that it needs for healthy function. So don't overeat undernourishing food. Overnourish yourself by undereating the better foods. Number 5, are you sure that you're craving calories or are you craving comfort? Because a lot of people eat out of comfort instead of the actual calories that is needed for their body. So the parasympathetic response to stress or arguments or depression or anxiety is to eat, because this releases serotonin and tryptophan, giving you that comforting feeling. It makes you feel good. You get it into an argument. Now you're stressed. Now you're pissed off. You're depressed. I'm going to eat because it makes me feel good. I've had a stressful day. The kids have driven me nuts. I've had a hard day at work. I'm going to eat bad foods because it raises my tryptophan and my dopamine levels, my serotonin levels, so I feel good. So think about that. Are you really craving the calories, the proper calories, the bad calories, or are you eating out of comfort? Number 6, I always say this and I'll continue saying it. Make sure you go and get your blood checked. Specifically, check your dopamine levels. Check your serotonin levels. Check your levels to see if you are able to get adequate sleep. So many people in this day and age aren't sleeping enough. So what do? They don't do anything about it, or they'll take over-the-counter medication, or they'll take under-the-counter medication, when that is really not going to fix your dopamine or your serotonin levels. A lot of people will supplement all the time. However, I always tell people, get down to the root cause. If your body and brain doesn't react the way it should, it's telling you something. It's telling you something is wrong. But if you go to a doctor and get medication for it, that isn't going to fix what's wrong. That's just going to be a Band-Aid that could potentially be doing you more damage than good. So if you're taking now medication, that's going to screw up with your gut microbiome, your opportunist flora. You're going to get more inflammatory responses. Your dopamine levels could possibly still be off and now get worse. You're not going to fix the underlying problems. So I always say, go and get checked, check it out, and then you can fix that cause. Number 7 this is, and I've actually said this in regards to being present when eating and slowing down, but here's some hacks that I like to use. So I will always like to have like a bigger bowl. For instance, let's say if I'm having some oat bran, and I will add a lot of water to it, and I will probably overcook it. So that expands more. I get more volume. Now I will eat this with a tiny spoon, like a baby spoon. A lot of bodybuilders will do this as well because it makes you feel like you get it in more. And remember I said you should eat slowly. You don't have any choice when you're actually eating with a small spoon. Same if I go out and I have the choice of eating with chopsticks or with a fork, I'll eat with chopsticks. So if you go to Asia, a lot of Asian countries, they're eating with chopsticks. Obviously, they've mastered that art. However, they'll generally eat slower and more precise, and they're thinking about the food more because you have to be a little bit more present when eating it. So get some chopsticks. Eat at home from now on with those chopsticks, and that will help slow down that eating process as well. So there's a lot that goes behind the psychology of eating, and a lot of it comes down to environmental factors. And a lot of it really, really boils down to slowing things down, because in this day and age, we are rushing so much. I'm one of these guys. I'm rushing a little too much. Sometimes I wake up anxious because I've got so much to do. I'm wolfing down food. And I think, what did I just eat? I wasn't registering because maybe I was in conversation. Maybe I was in a meeting. And this isn't good. This really isn't good. And a lot of the psychology of overeating is because of denial. You live in denial. It's easy to kind of put under the rug and think, I'll address it next time. But unless you are addressing the root cause and becoming very detailed with understanding why you are eating, and if you're eating, like I said, out of comfort or out of cravings, and what are these calories actually doing for you? Food is designed to heal you or harm you. And unfortunately, the way that we eat is usually harming ourselves. And we've been given the most precious thing we could possibly be given, and that is this body that allows us to see outside, to enjoy the mountains, to interact with people, to enjoy company, to push ourselves physically and enjoy the feeling of being put on this earth and having good health. Then what do? We destroy that good health by being weak and, unfortunately, thinking that our controlling behavior is mastered by someone else and not ourselves. Because very quickly we'll say, well, it's my past or it's my habits. This is just the way I am. I don't know why I do this. Well, it's you that's doing it. You are allowed to change the perception of your past to become more present. You are the one that's in control. It's not your doubt. It's not your argument. It's not your excuse. It's not your habits. It's not your past. It is you right now, today, being in present. Now, you could be on a Stairmaster right now going, I'm going to do an extra 20 minutes just so I can have extra fat or extra sugar or an extra cheat. It's not the right way to go about it. You should be very mindful of what you are eating and what you are putting in your vessel, because whatever you are putting in that vessel will lead to better skin, to better eyesight, to better hair growth, to longer years that you can live and be present on this earth in order for you to recover better, to perform better, to be stronger, to invest in your health right now instead of investing in medical bills right later or complications is a much, much better turnover. You'll get much more bang for your buck. Anyway, guys, that is the end of this episode with the psychology of overeating. Hopefully that has helped a little bit more. Now, as I said, at the end of this show, I'm going to give you the opportunity to win some prizes, including our new testosterone support matrix, Ferrodrox from Cage Muscle, and a Shield of Strength necklace, a Cage Muscle t-shirt, and a signed picture. All you have to do is go to the link in my show notes, enter your email address, subscribe to this podcast, and you'll see more ways that you can enter to increase the likelihood of you winning those prizes. Okay? So go to the link in my show notes, and hopefully you will be the winner. And next week, I will be announcing that winner. I'll be choosing you, and I'll announce that online as well. So thank you very much for tuning in to the Knowledge and Mileage podcast. My name is Kris Gethin, CEO of Cage Muscle. I will speak to y'all next week.